convex and concave mirrors, children, we will have to learn few terms to label it. What are they to study that? Let me clean this part of the board for now. As I already said you, the convex and concave mirror, what we obtain are nothing but we get it by splitting the sphere into two equal halves, isn't it, children? So, whenever you consider a sphere or a circle, say it has some center, say C. So, when you cut the sphere, what you get is two halves like this. So, these halves, if at all I draw the diameter to this circle, the diameter passes through the center of the circle. And if at all you mark the points where these diameter touch the two parts of the circle like this, that becomes the center for this concave and convex mirror. So, center of the sphere is different, whereas centers of this convex and concave mirrors are different. Please understand that, okay? This is one thing you will have to keep in mind. So, before studying these terms, children, we will do one thing. I will explain you how this process of reflection takes place with respect to concave mirror and convex mirror. Next, let us learn the definition. It will be easy for you. Simultaneously, I will explain both for convex and concave mirror so that you will understand it better. Sarina? So, concave mirror, convex mirror, eradu we shall draw now and then mark the different parts of those mirrors. First is concave mirror. I said concave means bulging. So, inner part, and bulgings come from inner part, means this curved part will be the reflecting part, whereas the bulged or the outside part is the silvered or polished part of the mirror. So, I will draw the concave mirror, or you can say it as inverted C also. How do you write letter C? This way, C and inverted C. Like this also you can recall, children. This is second hint. C andre convex, inverted C andre concave. That way also you can remember. However is comfort for you, you can remember it, children. Plus, don't remember more than two types and confuse yourself and do wrong or do mistake. That is what I want. So, don't do mistakes. Next, I consider this concave mirror, which is inverted C. As you all know, the reflection process takes place inside this curved part, and outside part C, I am silvering or I am shading it. Silvering or polishing surface is shown by shade, this shade. Next, what I do is, I will, don't want it. Sorry. Next, what I do here is, for the process of reflection to take place, you all know that we need a source of light. Here, let me imagine, always children, whenever you are showing any process of reflection, the source of light should be shown, from where it is coming. So, let us here imagine that the light is coming from the source, which is at some infinite distance. So, I will take it to be infinity. Infinity in the light barta ide. From this object, the light is coming and falling on the mirror anta we should imagine. What will happen or how this process of reflection take place in case of concave mirror? You know, from every point of this object, rays of light will come and fall onto the mirror. So, I explained you the process of reflection with respect to plane mirror, considering only one ray incident ray, one ray reflected ray, normal ray. Here we shall write many number of rays. Okay. So, ray of light, first ray what we consider is from this point to this point. The ray of light is coming from object which is at infinity. What is this line? Is this object, children? OBJ, object. From the object which is at infinite distance, or light is coming from some infinite distance. Best example is the sun. Sun is at some infinite distance. We know the distance of sun from earth. For time being, it is larger distance. So light is coming from some far distance, from infinity, if at all we imagine. that ray of light will come and fall on the mirror. Which mirror? Spherical mirror. In that yadu concave mirror. And as I said you, direction of light is very important. So I thought of using different colored chalk, children, for incident ray, reflected ray and all. But in the video, no, the color differentiation won't be seen. I checked already. That is the reason I am doing it with white chalk only. So what I will do is, I will not do, light will do. What light will do? After falling on the mirror, it will reflect back. In which direction? It came back. It is reflecting back in this direction. Similarly, other ray of light enagutte? It will go fall on the mirror, reflect back. See, for each ray, mention the arrow mark. So, it will come back. Incident on the mirror, reflecting back. Incident on the mirror, reflecting back. Correct? Why not center? Write one ray, which is incident, and see, in whichever direction or path it goes, it comes back in the same direction after reflection. If you observe, children, how the reflected rays will be means, all the reflected ray will converge. Converge means what? Coming closer, coming together, coinciding, the converging. Diverging, it is spreading. Converging, diverging. So, all these reflected rays of light are converging or coinciding or meeting at one point, say O. So, now Vishnu ಹೇಳಿದ image formation, adu idu anta ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. How is this image formed under children? Whenever this process of reflection takes place, the point where the reflected light meets, that intersection point idiyalla, at that point the image is formed. Image of what? Image of the object is formed at that point. So this is how the process of reflection takes place. Here the object is at infinity. The ray of light will come, hit the mirror and reflect back. Again another ray coming, hitting. Another ray coming, reflected back. Another ray reflected back. Another ray reflected back. Like this, all these rays of light are meeting or converging at one point where the image of the object is formed. In case of concave mirror, the ray of light is converging. This word is important and new to you as well. Converging. Andre coming and meeting or coinciding at one point. This is R. Converging at or meeting at one point. Now let us see what will happen in case of convex mirror. We shall see what will happen in case of convex mirror. So in case of convex mirror, we already know that the process of reflection or the reflecting surface is the outer part. I said you already. Convex, left hand andra, outer part will be reflecting surface, whereas inner part will be polished or silvered. So we shall polish or shade the inner part of the convex mirror, and this is the reflecting part, and you can label the reflecting arc as MN, XY, or whatever you want, you can label it, children. Now again, from some infinite distance or from infinity, say object AB. Here I forgot to label. Labeling is important, children. Object AB. So the light is coming from some distant object AB and now falling on what? On the convex mirror. After the ray of light pass on the convex mirror, the reflection will take place. But how will the reflected ray go? Means it will go in this direction. Next, we'll check with one more ray. Again, it will fall on the mirror. After reflection, it will reflect back in this direction. Another ray of light, normal ray if we consider, it is coming in this direction. After reflection, it is going back in the same direction. One more ray of light if you consider, incident ray, after reflection, it will go away like this. One more ray of light, again incident agata, reflect agata. What is happening in case of convex mirror? The reflected ray is not coinciding. It is not converging at point as we observed in case of concave mirror, isn't it? The reflected light, it is getting reflected but going its in own direction. It is not meeting or coinciding at one point as in case of concave mirror. So what they did is, children, the normal ray we will extend it for some point. So here converging on the word use madidvi. Why? The reflected rays were meeting at one point. But in case of convex mirror, the rays of light are diverging. Means they are not coinciding at one point. They are spread out. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕನ್ಫೈನ್ ಆಗಿ ಒನ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲೈಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಾನ್ಕೇವ್ ಮಿರರ್, ಕಾನ್ವೆಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಲೈಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಡಿಂಗ್ ಔಟ್. It is getting diverged. It is moving away from each other. So it is called diverging mirror. Convergent mirror, divergent mirror also. They use the words for convex and concave. Which is the convergent mirror? Concave. Which is the divergent mirror? Convex. Now, so in case of convex mirror, the ray of light will diverge. It will not coincide or meet at one point. The reason why I extended that line or ray of light is, children, so what they did is, but if at all I said you already how the image is formed means where the reflected light will meet, no? At that point the image is formed, I said you. Here all the reflected light met at one point, coincided at one point, and we said the image is formed there. But in this case, what you do, the light is getting diverged in different directions. Next what they did is, these reflected rays are there now, children. They traced their paths and connected all the divergent rays like this. See, this is first divergent ray alla, I draw the dotted lines here. ಈಗ second divergent ray illide. Again I will draw its path. Third divergent ray hinge tartini. Look, if I trace the paths of those divergent rays, are they not coinciding at one point? Yes, they are. That coinciding point is called, is where the image of the object is formed. So hence this is diverging ray. Then how did it, anyhow it coincided and image is formed? No ma'am, it may be called as converging, you may tell. No, the reflected rays itself on their own, if they converge or coincide like this, children, then it is converging. Here the reflected rays diverged, they spread out. But when we trace their paths, it is finded out that it will coincide at some point, and at that point the image of the object is said to be formed. This is how the process of reflection take place in case of concave mirror and convex mirror. These diagrams are very important, children. Show the process of reflection in case of concave mirror. With the help of figure, show the process of reflection in case of convex mirror. This type of questions you can expect. Then you would have to draw these figures. Please practice it. You have these figures in the textbook, and we shall be revising it once again in the online class anyways. So this is concave mirror and convex mirror, and this is about the reflection process which is taking place. Don't forget to write the arrow marks as well as mention the object and image. So what we shall do is, O I label, don't want O, we shall label I for image formation. So with this background, next we shall learn, as I already said you, few terms we shall learn. For that, what I do is, children, I need more space for that. Okay. Don't want, I will erase itself. And since we pay more importance to concave mirror, convex mirror henge reflection aito, we understood, fine. It is diverging mirror, and when the reflected rays paths were traced, they coincided at one point where the image of the object is formed. As a finish. But mainly we are going to study about the image formation in case of concave mirror, which is converging or convergent mirror, children. How means, now I already showed you how the process of reflection take place. And before starting with this, I explained you that sphere alli center C anta tagondre, when you cut into equal halves, it will be divided into C and inverted C I showed you, and they also have their centers. How do they get? If you draw a diameter passing through the center, then where the diameter will coincide, now that becomes the center of those two halves. I said you already. That concept you keep in mind. So keeping that in mind, first I will draw the concave mirror. You already know inverted C, concave mirror anta. Don't want. So N anta baritini. As you all know, outer part or bulged part I will shade for concave mirror. Now the center of the mirror is represented by letter P. The center of the mirror is represented by letter P, children, and it is called the pole of the mirror. P is called the pole of the mirror, P-O-L-E. These terms are very, very, very important. Individual definitions also will be asked sometimes, or in type of formula also. You have numericals in this lesson which are very important, children. So P is called the pole of the mirror's mirror. P is called the O-R. P is called the pole of the mirror. P is called pole. Sorry, what is pole andre? It is the center of this curvature. And there is a line which will pass through the pole of the mirror, and it is called the principal axis. Step by step you remember. Principal axis is the second term which we are going to learn now. What is pole andre? It is the center of the mirror. What is principal axis andre? The line passing through the pole and the headbody. The line passing through the pole is called the principal axis. Now the pole, what we have labeled as the center of the mirror, children, it is center of part of it. But when we had whole sphere, a sphere one center ittu, a circle one center ittu, C, that will be present somewhere here, children, represented by C. Correct alva? Igidu whole sphere, circle the center bandu C. I cutted the sphere into half. So this half I am explaining about. Hope you are understanding. This half I am explaining about. This center C of the sphere hage idiyalva? That is left as C itself, capital C, called the center of curvature. It is called center of curvature. Don't get confused between the pole of the mirror and center of curvature. Center of curvature, C is part of the center of whole sphere, whereas pole P is the center of mirror only. Now, and what is that line under? The line passing through the pole is the principal axis. Now children, the distance from this pole P to the center of curvature andre PC. This distance PC what we have is represented by the letter R, called the radius of curvature. Radius of curvature. Why do they call radius of curvature? It is very simple. ಈಗ sphere ಇದೆ. C ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Center of curvature. So, ಈ C ಇಂದ ಈಗ this part of the sphere we have chosen. When you cut it into half alva, children, from center of the circle to any point on the circle, if you draw a line, that is nothing but the radius R alva. If this point is chosen as pole of the mirror, this is center, PC R. This distance from center of the circle to center of the mirror is represented by capital letter R, called the radius of curvature. That is the reason I stressed to understand this concept of sphere being cut into half, which give rise to convex and concave. That is the reason, children. These terms are very important. So pole, principal axis, center of curvature, radius of curvature we came to know. And one more thing, this notations, no, you cannot change it to small letter or capital letter whenever you want, as you want. It is represented in capitals always. Okay na? So, pole aitu, principal axis aitu, center of curvature aitu, radius of curvature.